Ah, Japan, the land of the rising sun, bullet trains that arrive on time, and toilets that practically write you a haiku while you use them. Except, and here's the thing, Japan's reputation for pristine cleanliness, it's complicated. Like a perfectly raked gravel garden, there's a whole lot going on beneath the surface that might make you want to reach for some hand sanitizer. For a country so obsessed with bowing and politeness, there are some hygiene practices that would make even the most relaxed Western health inspector raise an eyebrow. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to delve into the fascinating, occasionally stomach churning world of Japan's hidden hygiene secrets. Let's be clear, Japan has a lot of amazing things going for it when it comes to food. The sushi is legendary, the ramen is a thing of beauty, and don't even get me started on the delicate perfection of mochi. But, and this is a rather significant but, there's a reason why Japan has a higher rate of food poisoning than many other developed nations. Now you might be thinking, hey, you limey git, you're just cherry picking statistics. To which I would say, firstly, that's incredibly rude, and secondly, you're absolutely right, I am cherry picking, but it's for a good cause. Because when you look closer at restaurant hygiene practices in Japan, you start to see some, shall we say, inconsistencies. For starters, let's talk about hand washing. In many restaurants, it's just not given the same level of importance as it is in, say, Korea, where you'll find hand sanitizer dispensers practically welded to every surface. But it's not in Japan. And don't even get me started on the horrors of shared dipping sauces. I mean, seriously, Japan, we're still in a pandemic here. Then there's the issue of reusing ingredients. Now, I'm all for reducing food waste, but there's a fine line between being environmentally conscious and serving up last Tuesday's tempura batter. It's a bit of a gamble, really. Will you get a delicious, freshly fried treat? Or will you be making a panicked dash to the facilities later that night? And we haven't even touched on the issues of pest infestations and the cleanliness of kitchen tools. Look, I'm not saying every restaurant in Japan is a breeding ground for salmonella, but let's just say you might want to think twice before ordering the sashimi from that dodgy looking street vendor. In most Western countries, a restaurant with this many red flags would be shut down faster than you can say food poisoning lawsuit. But in Japan, it's just another Tuesday. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going to talk about Japanese toilets, aren't you? Those futuristic ones with heated seats and more buttons than a spaceship. And yes, you're right, I am. But not in the way you might expect. Because while Japan might be home to the most technologically advanced toilets on the planet, it also has its fair share of public restroom nightmares. It's a tale of two toilets, really. On the one hand, you've got these gleaming beacons of hygiene, complete with bidet functions that could rival a spa day. And then, on the other hand, you've got public restrooms that smell like a troll's gym socks and haven't seen a bar of soap since the last time Japan won the World Cup. Let's start with the obvious unflushed toilets. Now, I'm not an expert on Japanese etiquette, but I'm pretty sure leaving a present for the next person to admire isn't considered polite anywhere in the world. And yet, it's a surprisingly common occurrence in Japan. Maybe it's a cultural thing, or maybe people are just terrified of those high-tech toilets. Whatever the reason, it's not pretty. And speaking of things that aren't pretty, let's talk about hand soap, or rather, the lack thereof. In many public restrooms, particularly in older buildings and train stations, soap is about as rare as a sober salaryman on a Friday night. They're big on the whole bowing instead of shaking hands thing, which is great and all, but it doesn't exactly help when you're trying to scrub away the remnants of a questionable bathroom experience. Checking in for a hygiene horror show? Ah, hotels. Those wonderful places where you can escape the drudgery of everyday life and sleep in a bed that someone else has to make. Unless, of course, you're staying in a hotel in Japan, in which case you might want to pack your own hazmat suit. Now, I'm not saying that all hotels and ryokan traditional Japanese inns in Japan are hotbeds of filth and despair, but let's just say that the standards of hygiene can be variable. And by variable, I mean you might encounter anything from a stray hair on your pillow to a family of dust mites having a rave in the corner. Let's start with the basics. Bed linens. In many hotels, especially those catering to budget travelers, you'd be forgiven for thinking the sheets are changed about as often as the emperor gets his beard trimmed. And don't even get me started on the yukata, those traditional Japanese robes that hotels provide. They're basically giant petri dishes of shared bacteria, just waiting to embrace you in their warm, unwashed embrace. And then there's the issue of toiletries. Now, I'm all for reducing plastic waste, but there's a special place in hell reserved for hotels that provide those little plastic bottles of shampoo and conditioner that have clearly been refilled with whatever they could find under the sink. It's like playing Russian roulette with your hair care routine. But the real kicker? The dust. Oh, the dust! It's everywhere, lurking under the beds, clinging to the curtains, having a grand old time on the lampshades. And don't even get me started on the mold. In a country with such high humidity, you'd think they'd be all over that. But apparently, mold is just considered another decorative element. Where germs go to work. Ah, the office. That bastion of productivity, collaboration, and, if you work in Japan, questionable hygiene. Now, I'm not saying that all Japanese workplaces are petri dishes of pestilence, but let's just say that the concept of personal space takes on a whole new meaning when you're sharing a keyboard with someone who hasn't washed their hands since the Meiji Restoration. Let's start with the elephant in the room, or rather the bacteria on the keyboard. Shared office equipment is a breeding ground for germs at the best of times. But in Japan, where the culture of presenteeism reigns supreme, and calling in sick is about as common as a unicorn sighting, it's a whole other ballgame. I'm talking keyboards so caked in grime they could be classified as archaeological artifacts, phones that have seen more earwax than a Q-tip factory, and desks that haven't been wiped down since the days of floppy disks. And then there's the issue of personal hygiene. Now, I'm not one to judge, but when your colleague's lunch smells like it's been fermenting in a gym sock since the dawn of time, it's hard to concentrate on spreadsheets. And don't even get me started on the lack of hand washing. Look, I get it. You're busy, you've got deadlines, but taking 30 seconds to wash your hands after you've been to the bathroom isn't exactly rocket science. And the carpets. Don't even get me started on the carpets. Let's just say that if you're thinking of taking a nap under your desk, you might want to pack a biohazard suit. Maybe Japanese people just have different standards of hygiene, but here's the thing, germs don't discriminate. They're just looking for a warm, moist place to set up shop and multiply. More than just a pretty facade. So, there you have it. Japan, the land of contrasts. Where ancient traditions meet cutting-edge technology and impeccable manners collide with some rather questionable hygiene practices. Look, I'm not saying you should cancel your trip to Japan or start carrying around a bottle of hand sanitizer the size of a small child. But it's worth remembering that beneath the surface of gleaming skyscrapers and perfectly manicured gardens, there are some hygiene secrets that might make you want to think twice before you touch that handrail. Because at the end of the day, hygiene isn't just about appearances. It's about health, safety, and basic human decency. So the next time you're in Japan, by all means, enjoy the sushi, marvel at the toilets, and immerse yourself in the culture. But maybe pack a small bottle of hand sanitizer just in case. Have you experienced any of these issues yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into Japan's hidden secrets.